Welcome back to Board Now, a Buffy the Vampire Slayer podcast hosted by me, the final girl. I am so excited to be talking all about this next episode with you guys. But before we get into that, I just want to say thank you guys so much for supporting my podcast. Thank you so much for all your kind comments and all your kind words. And I'm so thankful for the community and the Scoobies that we are building. Having one of my best friends, Anthony, on as my first guest to me just felt like the perfect way to launch this podcast. And I can't wait for you guys to see who else we have on this season and to see those and hear those conversations. But for today's podcast, we're talking all about an episode that I skip on every single rewatch. And that's right, we're talking all about Teacher's Pet, the episode that I have hated every single time I watched it. And I think part of it is because it is a Xander-centric episode. Now listen, I am like the chairman of the board of the Xander Slander Club, so this is why I have hated this episode. But if you guys are following my TikTok or watch any of my deep dives there, you'll know that I am currently dissecting the entire series, and my opinion on it has been changing as we have been doing it, this deep dive for the past 5 seasons. And so has my opinion changed on this episode? You'll just have to wait and listen. So let's dive in. I've got my notes. I'm ready to go.
In every generation, there is a chosen one. She alone will stand against the vampires, the demons, and the forces of darkness. She is the Slayer.
When Sunnydale High gets a new substitute teacher, Xander's instantly smitten. She's confident, glamorous, and seems interested in him. Gross. Buffy senses something is off. And per the usual, her instincts are right, and now she has to save Xander from being Miss French's next meal. Right from the beginning with Xander's dream, it's like what pisses me the fuck off. Like, I get it. He's a 16-year-old boy. I understand it. Like, I get that side completely. But it just really like irks me. Like he is like pining for Buffy so much, and she doesn't want him. She's not interested in him. And I feel like she has made it so clear to him. And he just kind of crosses that boundary and that line with her consistently. Like, I don't know, it just feels a little bit like an invasion of trust in a way. Like she is thinking that he is her friend and he has these like ulterior motives against her. And as we'll see later on in the season, he tries to sexually assault her. And so it just kind of feels like ick knowing that, seeing this scene in the opening. I don't know, maybe I'm reading into it too much because I am not a Xander fan, but it just feels really gross to me. Okay, I have a question for the Scooby Squad. Do we think that Buffy's science teacher knew that she was a Slayer? Because like, here's the thing, hear me out. He's old, he's into weird science-y shit. He recognizes that like things in Sunnydale kind of aren't the norm. He's read her file. He's like into her. Did he put 2 and 2 together? Because it feels like he's on her side. And I don't know, just their interaction between the two of them, it kind of feels like he maybe is like, I get it. I see you and I know what you're doing and I know what you're dealing with. And like, we're going to prove these motherfuckers wrong. I mean, he kind of, in a way, says that to her.
Now be sorry. Be smart. And please don't listen to the principal or anyone else's negative opinion about you. Let's make them eat that permanent record. What do you say?
Okay. Thanks.
And so, like, what's your opinion? Do you guys think that he knew? I totally think that he knew. The show was so relatable. At the time, I didn't fit in and was super bullied in school. And I was heavily bullied by teachers as well, too. But I had one teacher who really saw me. And I just really felt this scene. The only difference is, of course, mine wasn't decapitated and eaten and mysteriously vanished by a praying mantis in the next scene, like, you know, Dr. Gregory was. Because that's exactly what happens to our dear science teacher right in the opening after showing support for Buffy. He is unalived. And now listen, even though I skip this episode all of the time, I do recognize the importance of it. This is the episode that like Angel returns and he is still kind of all mysterious and brooding, and he meets the Scooby Gang for the first time, and we get the iconic moment where he gives Buffy the leather jacket, and that leather jacket stays with her throughout the entire series. And listen, another thing that I do enjoy about this episode is the comedy in it. Willow, when they are talking about the science teacher, Willow makes that joke and that crack about
He's one of the only teachers that doesn't think Buffy's a felon.
just felt very out of nowhere. And even on this rewatch, I laughed so hard. And I will say that, like, one trope I am so glad that we left in the 90s and early 2000s is the, like, hot for teacher or, like, teacher dating the student trope. I am so glad that that is, like, done and over with. I feel like so many shows in the 90s and 2000s did that, like Saved by the Bell, Dawson's Creek did it, Pretty Little Liars. I think even, like, Boy Meets World did it, and of course Buffy the Vampire Slayer does it, but I love the way that Buffy does it because it shows the, like, perils and the dangers of it, because it's like, yeah, you may want to hook up with your teacher, but she's going to be a monster who's going to eat you, so it might not be the best decision. And it's when Miss French took over the science class and she came in and all of the male students were having that hot for teacher moment that I kind of had a light bulb moment that maybe I have been viewing this episode completely all wrong. And, like, as I was watching it, it was hitting me that, oh my God, this is kind of the type of media that I have wanted my entire life, even though I'd have seen this since I was 12 years old. When Miss French is talking about the insects and she is talking about the praying mantis and how she is the predator, I like that this show flips that the bad guys can be women as well. Listen, I am a huge horror junkie. I'm a huge horror fan. And one of the things and one of the complaints in horror has always been that the bad guys and the uber monsters, the Freddy Kruegers and Michael Myers and Jason Voorhees of the world, is that we don't really have a whole lot of women big bads. And here we are in Buffy the Vampire Slayer episode 4. They're giving us one. And truthfully, they gave us one in the opening episode with Darla. So maybe I've been viewing this episode all wrong. I don't know, guys. Am I flipping? Cordelia stumbles on Dr. Gregory's body in the cooler, and I just have to know, how did nobody find his body when they were prepping in the cafeteria during the school day? Like, it's right there. Not one person opened that fridge and saw it hanging there. Nevertheless, it totally affects Buffy, and you can really see it on her face and just physically, emotionally, it hits her. It hits her hard. And I don't see anybody around her kind of acknowledging that. They're not comforting her in the way that they should be. You know, for Buffy, this is the first time really that somebody other than Giles at that school is kind of seeing her. She's trying so hard to shed this reputation that she's coming into. She wants to start over. She wants a clean start, a fresh start, and nobody will give that to her. Giles, of course, has to. He's her watcher. He knows why she does the things that she does and is the way that she is. But she just wants somebody to see her, and this teacher is the first person to do that. And now here it is. He's ripped away from her. And for her, it's just another thing that she doesn't get to have. This is that world that she walks in. It's so incredibly sad, but it's even more sad the fact that the people around her don't realize it, they don't recognize it, or even acknowledge it. Giles thinks that it is connected to an uber vampire, and he warns Buffy that she's too emotional and too connected, and he tells her, don't go check it out, and he warns her to listen to him and not disobey his orders. And of course, what does Buffy do? As we're learning this season, she does what she wants, and she goes to the park and she investigates, and her and the vampire get into it, but they are then broken up by the Sunnydale PD. And when she starts following him, he runs into Miss French, and she scares the bejesus out of this vampire. And that is enough to convince Buffy that something is up with Miss French. And during that scene, I kind of need to talk about the stunts for a second. These first few episodes, I have to do some research, but I think these were the pre-Sophia Crawford episodes. Sophia Crawford became the main stunt double towards the middle of season 1, and she was the stunt double for Buffy until the end of season 4, beginning of season 5. But before she came on, the stunts were absolutely atrocious. Even the sounds didn't line up to the fighting. I am so glad they brought her and her husband Jeff Pruitt on board to take over everything. And listen, I said this episode earlier was really funny, but to me, the funniest moment is when Cordelia is with the therapist. So Buffy has to investigate. She now knows that like Miss French is dark, right? She knows something is up and she wants to go investigate her in the class, but Principal Flutie makes them all go see a therapist and it's a whole thing. But when we get there, it's Cordelia talking to the therapist and it is fucking iconic. I love how she says,
I think I lost like 7.5 ounces. Way swifter than that so-called diet that quack put me on. Oh, I'm not saying that we should kill a teacher every day just so I can lose weight. I'm just saying when tragedy strikes, we have to look on the bright side. You know? Like how even used Mercedes still have leather seats.
after a couple weird occurrences, an exorcist head, and a missing Blaine, Buffy does her research and discovers that Miss French is a giant praying mantis, and now she has her sights set on Xander-level Harris. That's right, Lavelle. We learn that Xander's middle name is Lavelle in this episode. If you've got to be an asshole, at least that's his middle name, right? But listen, this is why I fucking hate Xander. He is such an asshole. The way he unloads on Buffy when she's just trying to warn him. Like, it's not the monster, right? So she says that he's been hit by the pheromones. It's not that. The pheromones just make him fall in love with her. It's his arrogance. It's everything that he has inside of him that he is spewing out towards Buffy. He's not under some spell. It's just who he is. And because the pheromones are in his system and makes him think that this older woman, this older attractive woman is into him, it's given him this false sense of confidence. And his ego has grown immensely. And from that, his true self has been so exposed. And it's just lashing out at Buffy. And it's just the number one reason why I hate his fucking character. Because, like, at this point, they're a couple months into their friendship. And, like, think everything that he's seen so far and he's experienced with her. He should be trusting her. He should be saying, okay, shit, maybe I might be under a spell, or I don't think I'm under a spell, but okay, I'm going to stop and listen to my friend who I have saved the world with and have dealt with these things. And you know, this teacher is into me. I'm going to stop and do this. And maybe she might be trying to save my life. She's not jealous. He has zero respect for Buffy and zero respect for women. And he is so fucking lucky that Buffy didn't let her eat him, because I would have. Because of course, he shows up to Miss French's house. She seduces him and drugs him. And this is where we see Natalie French in full form. The praying mantis is fully out here. And fun fact, apparently, I've never seen Babylon 5, but apparently this costume was used like a few years prior in an episode of Babylon 5, and they just recycled it for Buffy. But also, the actress that plays Miss French was in Babylon 5. Now it's up to Buffy to take the charge and save Xander and Blaine. And I love how she takes lead here. Like, when they're figuring out what to do, she has been researching. She knows. She's directing. She's guiding. She's telling Giles what to do. She's telling Willow what to do. She's done the research. She's got the bat sonar thing going on.
Bat sonar, right. What?
Bats eat them. A mantis hears sonar, its entire nervous system goes kaplooey.
Where am I going to find
In the vid library. There are no books, but it's dark and musty. You'll feel right at home. Go!
Like, it's very powerful. Like, she is coming into her own. She is, you know, learning what it's like to be a slayer and take that lead and take that charge. It's part of why this show is that feminist piece of media, because it shows that women can take those positions. And the men around them, like Giles, respect her and let her lead. Buffy, Giles, and Willow go to who they think Miss French's house is, and we get the iconic Jean Spiegel Howard cameo. She has been in like everything. She's the everyone's favorite grandma. My personal favorite movie that she has been in is Dolly Parton's Smoky Mountain Christmas. It is my favorite holiday Christmas movie. If you haven't seen it, you should see it. It's obvious that this isn't Miss French's house and she has been using this as a decoy. And so Buffy thinks fast on her feet and she captures the vampire from earlier and uses him as kind of like a detection. So that way she could find Mrs. French's real house because he is afraid of her. So she captures him and uses him like a sonar, and then she busts in and rescues Xander and Blaine just in the nick of time. You know, she saves the two virgins because that's the whole gag of the episode, is that they're competing to see how many women that they have slept with. And Blaine is like the player of the school, and Xander's like, how many girls have I slept with today? When the joke and gag is that they're both virgins.
I am not.
Well, she meant his modus operandi. She only preys on the pure.
My dad's a lawyer. Anybody repeats this to anybody, they're gonna find themselves facing a lawsuit. Blaine, shut up.
And like, there's nothing wrong with being a virgin, especially in high school. And in the end, I will give some credit to Xander because he did apologize to Buffy, but even that just kind of felt half-assed because it's like he didn't learn his behavior. It becomes repeated. This is who he is and this is what he does. And in the end, it ends with a really sweet moment of Buffy taking Dr. Gregory's glasses and putting him in his jacket. And then the camera pulls out and you see the praying mantis eggs, but it is never addressed again. It's never talked about again. And you know what? I can forgive it because it was very 90s. It feels very Goosebumps, like Erie, Indiana. It has that whole vibe. That's what this episode has. And it was in that moment that it kind of really hit me that my opinion on this episode has changed. You guys, doing this rewatch with you and doing these deep dives and this super retrospective, introspective, whatever you want to call it, on my favorite series and looking at it and examining it in a way that I've never done it before has really opened my eyes. And it has been such a gift for me. Like, I have always hated this episode with a passion. But this time watching it, I enjoyed it so much. Like, I actually really liked this episode. And that ending when I saw the eggs, and I was like, they'd never talk about this again. But I was like, you know what? It feels very like Goosebumps. I was like, this is like a Goosebumps ending. And then it just kind of hit me and like just that nostalgic feel. And I was like, oh my God, my opinion has changed. I actually like this episode. So I think I can safely say that I won't be skipping this episode on my rewatches anymore. I'm just as shocked as you guys are. Where does this one land for you guys on your list and your rewatchability? I know so many people skip this episode. A lot of people don't like it because it is a Xander-centric episode. But I'm looking at it completely different now. Like, I'm going to flip it on its head and look at it as like, it's the female baddie. Thank you guys so much for tuning in this week. Next week, we are breaking down, to me, one of the most underappreciated and underrated episodes of Buffy the Vampire Slayer and one of my favorite, Never Kill a Boy on the First Date. Make sure that you guys are following, make sure that you are liking and sharing and commenting. That really helps a Ghoul out. We stream everywhere you stream your podcast at, on Spotify, Apple, and everywhere I think our RSS feed goes. The video is on YouTube and clips will be shared on my personal TikTok. And until next week, thank you guys so much. This is Bored Now, a Buffy the Vampire Slayer podcast hosted by me, the final girl.